You got all your multiple screens set up?
Yes, yes, I have it up. Thank you so much, Christopher, for the opportunity to share this baby of ours that we've been able to to really get to I think a very comfortable level. So today I'm excited to share with all you guys what has kind of gotten us to double-digit recruiting even before the month ended, and what I believe it to be a great way to introduce our business to our families.
By the way, Yvonne, I just built you up and told everybody what a superstar you are. When's the last time you and Michael hit double-digit recruiting?
Oh my gosh. And that's quite embarrassing. I think it's been way too long for me to even count.
Okay.
Definitely over a year. And I know it's kind of sad to say that as an SMD team, and you're like, well, you know, you guys have the natural ability to do all those things. And, you know, me being the recruiter, we just, you know, for some reason or whatever, it just hasn't happened to us. But this month, before even the month was over, like halfway through the month, we were like already 10 BBC. We're like, what, 10 BBC? And it had been such a long time. And I really feel that it's been a great part to our team. So I want to say Team Excellence, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And I can't wait to share with everyone what we're doing here in our hierarchy. So yes.
So let me just say this, Yvonne, real strength is in transparency and vulnerability. And so I appreciate you saying that. Yvonne and Michael have been like 3-4 recruits a month for quite a while. And this has exploded it single-handedly. And this is just the first month of it. Wait till they've been doing it 2, 3, 4 months concurrently. It's going to take off for some of you on the call that are doing 0, 1, 2, 3 recruits. This could quickly take you to 8, 10, 12 recruits, just like it's taken Yvonne and Michael from 3, 4 to, what are you guys going to finish at, 14, 15 this month?
We should finish at 15. So we have the
so proud of you.
At I think at 13 or 14, but we should finish at 14, unless we have these other ones come through at the last minute. Who knows? Maybe we might finish at 20. So I know we got a lot of them lined up already for next month. But yeah, we're excited about it.
So proud of you. Take over the call, girl.
Awesome. All right, you guys. So let's dive right into it. I'm going to share with you guys my screen. You guys should be able to see a PowerPoint, which gives us an ability to kind of dive into this grand opening. So the grand opening is really just about creating an experience for your team, for your business. I actually got this particular idea from Dewan. He had a full-timers meeting and he shared about a launch party. And when he said that, it kind of caught my attention, but I think really what specifically really made it click for me, it was the creating an experience. And I say, wow, you know, we haven't really created an experience yet for our new associate or our clients. So how do we do that? How can we create that experience? So we're talking about creating a grand opening for all of our associates. So we start off with the vision. Okay, so I'm going to go into very specific things. Keep in mind, we definitely have worked a lot on this, but there's still a lot of things that can be improved. So if by the end of this presentation, you take challenge and you do it, give me feedback, tell me what's working, tell me what things perhaps you improvise on it so that we can continue to perfect this to an amazing, amazing way to help our associates. So a launch grand opening. So what we want to do is talk to all of our associates. All of our associates have been with us forever. Our associates that just got started, everyone. So not excluding, not even one person. Doesn't matter what their market looks like. It doesn't matter if they just got started. Doesn't matter if they're already SMDs. So like Michael and I, we're actually in the process of creating ours. We want to create our own grand opening because it is a new era. It is a new time in your business. So I think the best time to do this grand opening for our new associates is definitely to mention it and create a date for them at the fast start. This is something that I just literally kind of had an aha moment yesterday. I was like, wow, you know, we have all these people, but we got to get close faster to creating this this grand opening date. So mention it definitely on the fast start so that you can capture your new grand openings for them. The second thing is create a vision. You got to enroll your people in it. So that means that when you're picturing this grand opening, this, you have to sell it to your team. So you have to tell them, hey, we're going to have an opportunity where you're going to have your own very grand opening webinar, just like you see on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, but it's going to be just for you. It's going to be talking about your goals, your dreams. And guess what? The first speaker is going to be you. It's going to feature you, and then like the SMD. So you and Michael Paul, or you and Nikki, you and so-and-so, right? So you want to talk about them being the main speaker. So most people kind of get thrilled at the fact that they're going to have a chance to share their vision, their why with their friends and family, especially those that have been around for a very long time. Their family wants to support them. They want their support, but they don't know, they're not connecting. So you got to share their why. So they have to share their why to all their friends and family. And the funniest thing happens is that when they are sharing their why, all the cameras turn on. All of a sudden, like everyone's like super attentive to what they have to say, because this is their friend, and they're hearing some things that they probably have never heard it or been expressed. It has been expressed that way, or maybe they haven't even heard the story before, or how they got into this path with us, right? So definitely have them have it speak in the BPM. So we're doing the BPM presentation. So they're going to be either sharing their story only if they're brand new, or perhaps doing part of the presentation. So that brings us to our next bullet point, is having given them expectations. So what are the expectations? So the expectations is going to be expectation from guest count, meaning how many people are we going to have there. So go over the numbers with them, right? So if it's, if you're going to have 3 guests there, then obviously you need to have invited 10, and then let them know, what equals from 3 people that show up. And then also have them give you a commitment to how many people they're going to have there. I can tell you from personal experience that when we've given them an expectation like, hey, I want you to have 10 people there, I want you to have 20, 30, 50, 100 people, they are invited, because I've been the one that has casted that, necessarily doesn't mean that I've gotten their buy-in. So you need to have your associate tell you what is their commitment according to what the numbers are to having a guest on that webinar. So definitely go over that with them, get an actual commitment, have them say it. And then also talk about how you're going to be inviting. So this is another area that we are working on, is having how are you going to invite, who's going to be involved in inviting with that person. So just sending out a text message or a flyer, it's not enough. You want to do 3-way calls. You want to follow up with text messages on 3 ways. So there's a lot of little moving parts that I'm going to talk to you guys in a minute about how we're doing this co-inviting with the associate for into the warm market. Daily accountability or daily conversations as much as possible, because although you say one thing, sometimes it's forgotten or it's not quite clear the first time you said it. So you want to keep on repeating yourself so that everyone becomes on the same page, as well as the speaking roles. So who is going to be breaking the floor? Who is going to be speaking, giving their vision, and then saying for the speaking the first 3 slides, right? I have my associates have been with us for over 3 months, 6 months, definitely engage on the first, second, and third slide. And they're like, hey, I don't know what to say. Well, guess that's more of a reason why you got to be on these Zoom webinars on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, so you can kind of hear the best experts share the message. Also, if you don't know the history of WFG, well, go to YouTube University and be able to watch these videos so that you can get some history about our company. So that way you're able to deliver that. So role playing also definitely helps there. Now let's get right into the setting up of this grand opening. So the setup of the grand opening, I believe that a flyer looks really great. So create a flyer. If you're like, hey, I don't have someone to help me with a flyer, then you can go to Poster My Wall and you can create a flyer there. In addition to that, there's a few other steps that are important. So promote within MDs for the grand opening. So one of the things that I have I have always heard our leadership talk about is kind of like stir up the pot, have a chance to let everyone know what's going on and have people say, well, I too want to be able to have my grand opening. There's something very contagious about when one person does it, especially if it's your downline, then they're doing their launch grand opening, you're all of a sudden wanting to do yours as well because they're doing it. You're like, well, I got to do it. So send maybe a text message, or be creative, send a video message to all of your MDs or your directs, right? And tell them, hey, we're launching this grand opening in Cast Division, what that's going to look like. There's going to be music. You're going to be the first speaker. Then so-and-so is going to close it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an opportunity for your friends and family to see why you're doing what we're doing and get support, get tons of referrals. This is how it's going to help you to your next promotion. And then talk about who has already created theirs and show them a picture of the flyer. So I created this video, and all of my team can attest to it. I send it out, and it just use like fun backgrounds. You can use Snapshot to create a video. You can use Instagram, download it, and then send it off. So that's one thing that we did to promote the MD individual teams for grand openings. Next to that is set up a BSC Pro event. So just like there's BPM events, you can do the same through a BSC Pro. Why do you want to do that? Is because your associate is going to have all of these people that they want to invite, but you want to make sure that you are starting to control that point of contact, as well as see what that event is going to look like by having them enter their guests on their own event, so you can see what that is. One of the things that you can do, and I'm kind of starting to realize, is that you got to promote that. So there is a way on BSC Pro that you can kind of pull up the guest count and see where you're at, and you can definitely drive that MD team or that, let's say, party committee who's helping you create that event for guest count. You can say, hey, this is where we're at. We need to get to this. And it's just a visual area that you can do that. The flyer, as I mentioned, you want to make sure you have it on created. I created mine through Poster My Wall. I can definitely share that link with you guys, or I think Evelyn might be able to. And then have a Zoom link. So already have the Zoom link saved, put aside, so that way you have it able to go out along with the flyer to your team. Have a text message script. So one of the areas to avoid the scenario disaster is if you create a text message script and you send it out to the trainee or to the associate, then now they can do a three-way text message with you in it to whoever they want to invite, along with the flyer, along with the link of for the event. So I've created a text message script. I'll show you guys in a minute what that looks like. And we've done one thing, which is an overview card link, and I will show you that as well later. What that basically means is that just like we would have those white cards after an ASAP appointment, and we would get feedback from what they, from the person we met with, to what they were interested in, what did they like. That same idea we've created into a link, just like as Christopher has done Google surveys, it's done in the same content. So we sent this link at the very end of the webinar to all of the guests so they can fill out their responses. And it's quite awesome to get those feedbacks, because a lot of people are express just the gratitude of being on that webinar and how they really connected with that associate after they share their story. So that's pretty cool. Also, email your presentation to the associate. You want to email it ahead of time, especially if you're going to have them speak, because they want to, iron out their kinks. They want to be able to do a great job at their presentation. So definitely do that. I think the first presentation that you do as a grand opening, you can call it a soft grand opening. I think that's the direction Michael and I are going to be going into now, because we want to have multiple of them, especially for the new associate. Maybe having about 3 of them, so 1 each month for the first 90 days of business. So the first one is going to be a soft grand opening, kind of really iron out the kinks, and they're going to be obviously maybe a little bit timid to who they invite. but by the second and third, they're going to be a total pro. Who knows? They might even be doing the entire presentation by that time. So definitely give room for your associates to grow through this process. Now, the grand opening text message is what we send, right? We add the flyer, and then we say hi, or however they greet their friends and family. I hope all is well. I just got started in business and I'm really excited. I value your opinion and your support. Join me on my grand opening this, and then put Saturday, what date that it is, the time, and then specify, is it East Coast, Central Time, or whatever, because now that we're doing it through Zoom, people from all times are able to join. I would like to share with you my new vision. I will be hosting my event by Zoom, specified through what it is, because sometimes people think it is live. So definitely specify it's going to be by Zoom. Please text me your email address so that I can forward you the link. Thanks for your support. So of course, always assume that people are going to be willing to help you, and that they're going to be at home, as we all should be home, and they're able to join you. Okay. Now we ask for an email address because what we experience is that when you only send a link by text message, then it requires them to have downloaded the app. And if they don't download the app, then they have trouble joining Zoom. So Sandra, who had like a lot of invitations, did a email to all of her friends and family. And she had a high ratio of people joining the call. And I think it was due to the simplicity of just an email. All they had to do is just click. They didn't have to pre-register through Zoom. It was just much easier. So if they're not technically savvy, definitely you want to send that by there. Another area that you can create this message, it doesn't only have to be sent through a text message, but if you have, like, say, Instagram, or you have Facebook Messenger, and you have a lot of other contacts there, you utilize those ways to get this information out. Add the flyer, send a message, and bam, you can now have them join you through Zoom, not through Facebook and not through Instagram Live, but through Zoom. So make sure you specify that there. So good. I do tell our associates to, obviously have an opportunity to tailor that message a little bit to what they really sound like when they communicate, so it's not too robotic. All right. Now, this is an example here of the Google link. This is how we have a chance to create that overview card that I was just sharing with you, where we capture people's information, their responses, when they want to meet back with us, referrals, all of that is captured through this survey, right? We're going to say survey questionnaire that we do. And how do you create that is this way. All right. If you want to take notes, you can, or take a picture of it, snap a picture of it so that you can know the steps. The first thing is this: you open up your Gmail. So it has to be through Gmail. Open up your Gmail. And then you're going to see right next to your name, right next to your name icon, right? There is another icon of about, I think it's about 9 little buttons or circles. Click there. So you're going to click there. Once you click there, it's going to drop down, and it's going to see, you're going to see all your apps. So you're going to click on Drive. Once you open Drive, on the second picture, you'll see that it says Drive, and you can either do a new, or you can look at your current Drive or what's been shared with you Drive, or recent, started, or trash. What you want to do is click on the very first icon where it says New. So you see that with the plus sign, click New. Then on the third picture, once you click New, you'll see that it will drop down a few options to either create a folder, upload, or another folder, Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and then there's the option for more. So you're going to select more, and then it is going to say Google Forms. So that is where you're going to create this overview card. The overview card is created through Google Forms. I'll show you what it looks like in a minute as we finish, but through Google Forms, you can create any questions. You can title it. You can even share it. You can, of course, if you share it, and I've shared it with a few guys, please go ahead and save it as a new, duplicate the form so you don't destroy the original one. Duplicate the form, retitle it so that you can make the difference between which one's the original one, which one isn't, and then make your changes. That way you can continue to share, but it doesn't become the form that you originally sent doesn't become a hot mess. So that is the way that you create that form. Also, on the form, when it has been created, there is an option for you to create an Excel sheet for the responses. And that's really cool because when the responses are coming in, it does give you the ability to see almost instantly as they're just been press submit to see the responses. And I'll go over that feature with you guys in a minute. All right. So let's talk about setting up the close. Setting up the close to your grand opening, which you work very hard for, is super important. But really the close doesn't start when the webinar is ended. It starts way before that. So we start setting up the close when we're confirming our guests. So when we're confirming our guests, because we have them on VSE Pro, someone can properly confirm them. So the confirmation should go something like this. Hi, Christopher. This is Yvonne Paul on behalf of Ted. We're super excited to have you on his grand opening webinar today at 3 p.m. The link has been sent to you via email. If there is any problems in joining our call, please feel free to respond back to the 3-way text message that we're going to send you after this call. Also, Ted will be contacting you after the webinar and sending you a link for you to complete to get your responses. On behalf of Ted, we look forward to you seeing us today at 3 for his grand opening. It is going to be an interactive grand opening, so see you on Zoom. Thank you. Bam. Or something along the lines like that, right? So what are you saying? You're saying that it's a grand opening, the time, the date. You're saying that there is an email sent out to him. You're saying that you're going to send out a 3-way text message with Ted on it. So if they have any questions, they can contact you instead of contacting Ted. You're also saying that he's going to be to expect a phone call. You're talking about the close itself, and even you're talking about what that is going to look like during the actual webinar. It's going to be an interactive way. So, to definitely be fully attentive to the event, not doing house chores or yard work or anything, to be engaging in that event with them. Also, I sent a 3-way text message after that call. Whether they told me yes, they do have it, or they don't have the email link, I do it because I want them to see that we're communicating together, and that if there is any challenges in them getting on, they can contact me. But really, it's also an opportunity for me to control the point of contact. So let's say that it is like 3 minutes before the event starts and I don't really see anyone on yet, right? Well, I want to create the best event for Ted. So guess what I'm going to do? I already have who I need to contact. So I'm only going to send a quick message saying, we're starting in 2 minutes, or we just started, join us. Why? Because people sometimes forget. So you want to go ahead and send them a quick reminder so that they know. And that way, Ted's responsibility, who's the event for, he doesn't have to go chasing after his people. I can do that for him. He can focus on being able to greet all of his guests. So as his greeting, right, he's saying, hi, how are you? Thank you for joining. And so it's now becoming this really warm environment in that webinar. So that is what he's doing. I'll chime in from time to time and say, hey, I'm excited that you guys are here to join Ted for his grand opening, and we're gonna get started soon. In the meantime, Ted, and that's all I said, right? And of course, in the meantime, Ted is still talking to people, right? So this is a great way to mozone during a webinar. Tell your associates what to expect, so that way they can create that environment with you. So The pregame. Okay, so this is something that we're getting better on, is having a pregame. Definitely talk about all the roles ahead of time. So that day, talk about, okay, do a three-way text message. I mean, not three-way text, but do a text message with everyone who's going to be playing a role in that event. So who's doing what, what's going to happen, what time you're meeting on Zoom. You want to meet there early so that the lighting is right, so you guys can get the music up. Is there music requests? Yes. Okay, Sharana had an event. She wanted some music requests, so we had that already there. We have, what happens is on the actual webinar, we put a flyer. We put that same flyer, we put it up. We have the music going for them, usually music that they really like or their guests enjoy, because they're always they kind of like the same kind of things. And so we have the flyer, we have the music. I have, Sharana greeting her guests. I'm texting, say, hey, join us. Hey, join us. Someone can't join us. I'm helping them in the background. And then Michael is ready to go on in a little bit. I then come back on, break the floor, or whoever's going to break the floor breaks the floor, and then introduces Sharana, who's one of our associates. She did an event as well. She then speaks her story and then turns it over to Michael. So it's a lot smoother process when all of these things have been delegated and talked about. So having a music, a flyer, give co-host abilities, so that way when people, let's say the speaker is talking to people about how they when they present, they say, so Maria, when it comes to the rule of 72, you're engaging with people. People usually, when you say their names, it gives them, you're getting their attention, and they usually want to unmute themselves. So if you have someone who's a co-host, they can mute them right back. And so that way you don't hear all the background noise, right? So have someone else be a co-host so they can help with the distractions of people unmuting themselves. Delegate, I guess usher, that would be the one that's doing the three-way text message. They're ushering guests into the Zoom room, making sure that everyone is getting on there correctly. Delegate who's going to follow up with guests, meaning after the actual call, after the webinar. What is that process? Who's going to contact who to make three-way calls, right? And then also have a chance to follow up on BSC Pro. So let's go into our next slide that talks about this three-way text message confirming. So this is what it looks like. You guys can take a picture of it. It's just basically saying that you're welcoming them to the event. You're putting the link there in case they want to access it over their phone, and you are telling them that, again, the overview card is going to be sent to them. They're going to be contacted by who has invited them, and if they're going to join the actual call by the Zoom call by their phone, we recommend that they've downloaded the app. So you can take a picture of that, so that way you can have it. When I do a three-way confirmation, so I send it to the guests, the person who invited them, and then the flyer. That way, once again, it's really about a experience. And the same way you can do for even your other guests that come on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, just so that you can, help with the point of contact and making sure people are able to get on and reminding them as well. So this is the close. So now that the event is just about over, not quite over, you, the associate who is the grand opening for, right? They already know what message to send out to all of their guests as the last speaker is speaking, right? So right towards the end, the last speaker is gonna say, so Ted is gonna send out a text message to all of you with a link, and that's what the text message is, right? So the message says, what an amazing webinar. Please take a minute to complete our overview card link and on the following link, right? I'll call you soon. So they send this out. What I've seen that is helped is to be able to send it out before the call ends, right? Not too early. If possible, if you're doing your own grand opening, right? You're doing your grand opening for your associates, say that it's going to be sent out and then send it out at that moment. So it gets sent out at that moment. And what we're going to start to do on our end is that we're going to then go over this overview link with them, because sometimes a lot of times they may not even know what this link is about. They're like, oh, it's another presentation, or, how long is this? It's quite short, right? So you want to go over it with them so that way they can know what to expect, and they can kind of see themselves visually already closing these steps or filling it out with you. You might even tell them, fill it out with us, right? So they open the link and this is what it looks like. You see the other 3 pictures? That is what the link looks like. So the Google link form that you completed earlier looks like this. You can add a picture, you can add the questions you want. So we selected these questions to be some of the questions that are important to us. So what is your next step with us? Who invited you? Right? Because we're having a lot of them. Remember, it's going into an Excel sheet, so we need to make sure that we know who invited them. Also, their first and last name, their phone number, email address. Why is an email address important? Because we want to send a campaign manager thanking them for joining that grand opening. So that's why, right? We want to be able to do that. Also, if you have Instagram or whatever, you can utilize that to kind of send them an invitation for them to follow you. That's the next step that we're actually working on. Next is, what are they interested? So are they interested in a part-time opportunity? Check that off. Are they interested in financial services, the solution for them and their family? They'll check that off. Are they interested in both? Awesome. And are they not interested? It's funny that sometimes people would like, oh my gosh, whether they'll check that off or not. Some people do check it off, right? It's okay. But they definitely make comments at the end talking about it was a great event that definitely will keep them in mind for referrals. So I guess they feel kind of bad at the fact that they checked off they're not interested, but yet that's the reality. I love that fact, because if they're not interested, I'm okay with it. We're okay with it. I just simply don't need to follow up with you that strong. I have way too many people already that I need to contact. So you're not going to be someone that I'm going to call. So because we have responses immediately, that is someone that I do not call. I simply send them a message, or I have the associate send them a message saying, tell them you said, thank you, keep you in mind for referrals. And let's go on to making the next calls of people who actually have set a appointment with you and want to meet with you, right? So, people then actually put times when they're available and when they want to meet with you. Of course, you're closing, so you're already telling them what is the time frame that you want to meet with them for, either an interview or for the services. And then who do they want to refer you to? So is there a friend or family member that they have, anyone that they want to refer you to, and comment. They press submit and bam, just like that, you have already the responses on your end. What I like about this form is that the responses can be shared with your team. So you can add your entire team. So I have like my MDs and some of our associates who have their own team on this link. So they actually can see all the responses. We can color coordinate everything as well to, what's who's interested, who's not interested. If I think there was like one of Martin's guests that wanted to meet like on a Thursday, on a Sunday or Saturday, and yes, I think it was like an event of a Tuesday, right? On a BPM. And I'm like, wait, that's way too long. So I said, okay, Stephanie, since you're calling and this is their response, you need me to close them on meeting earlier. And of course, Stephanie being an awesome closer, she was able to close them to meet on Thursday instead. So when you kind of know of the challenges that are coming, you can have an opportunity to do that, right? So then we talk about follow-up type, right? I love this because you get your team to help you, and our team has done an awesome job at it. Stephanie, Lily, Sandra, Yvonne, they've done amazing, and having a chance to help me out with this. So through BSC Pro, you can really be able to color coordinate who showed up, who didn't show up. Second, you can add notes to what happened, right? They're not interested. Okay, well, guess what? If they're pink, they're not interested. We don't even really bother making notes for them. We do make notes on the ones that do attend, right? And the ones that didn't attend. So we're making notes to when is their interview, or when is their KTP, or when did they reschedule for. So I have an awesome team. They have done a great job in doing this. And it does also through BSC Pro let you know the numbers. So Sandra, she's the #1 right now title winner, because she's had the biggest, most successful grand opening with 32 invitations, and 22 actually showed up. That's a 69 ratio, right? Remember I told you it was because she sent an email. I think it's really due to that. Also, she just has a lot of credibility. So this is one way to track your follow-up. When the webinar has ended and they have already sent out the link, and people have gotten gotten the text message, right? They've gotten a phone call 3-way, meaning you coordinate, okay, Stephanie is going to call Philip, and then you guys are going to make your 3-way call. So that way they're not waiting on who's calling who. Then you're making your calls. Those, sometimes people are not going to pick up immediately. So that's why you send them that text message, say, I'm going to send you this link, complete it, fill it out, and then you start to contact them as you're going through. Then you send a campaign manager. So through campaign manager, you can send a thank you, but we've taken it to another level. We have actually a BPM kit. So just like there was BPM kits, there's an electronic BPM kit that we've created through campaign manager. So this is the share code. So take a picture of it or write it down correctly. So that's the share code that you see on your screen. Starts with 10, lowercase at EFC 513, lowercase b 51B FA 5804D. That is your share code. How to redeem your share code? Through Campaign Manager. Open up Campaign Manager. Go to campaigns. So it's going to be like this blue bar, and you're going to see campaigns. Click on campaigns. Once that opens up, it's going to give you on the very top underneath campaigns, it's going to give you the ability to redeem a share code. And it looks exactly like this. It says redeem share code, just like that. Share code is together. So put in that number there. Bam, it populates your BPM kit. You can edit the content to it. It'll upload automatically your picture. And you have attachments such as Research WFG, the brochure, all the things that we would have normally in a kit, it is already there for you. All you have to do is save it to your library so that you can recall it at later times. And if you're utilizing Campaign Manager, you can tell how many times that actual email has been seen. So it's an awesome way to say thank you to your guests for joining you on that grand opening instead of just a text message. Then, of course, those that did not show up, follow up tight, do one-on-ones, and follow-up is key. So this really completes our, presentation for the grand opening. And I think that as you do it, you might have other ways that maybe has helped you. Let us know. I can already tell you that one of the ideas that I already recently had is, instead of maybe just doing a flyer, creating a video. If there's a way that I can create a video so that people can just click it and see it, it'll be even more amazing. So if I do it, I'll make sure I share it with you guys, and let's continue to build from there. All right, back to you, Christopher.
Ooh, that was cray-cray. The chat room is absolutely freaking exploding. That is straight fire. Like, I think even the newest guy on the team understands like how huge this is. It's just a couple nuances that people may misunderstand the significance of, like you having them do the first couple of pages of the presentation. What that does for their confidence and their seeing themselves do the business, what it does for their company and the connection. And quite frankly, even if that's a great recruiting tool, because some of the people go, crap, Yvonne's doing this, I'm like, I think I could do better than her. She didn't even do that good of a job with that part of the presentation. Like, that's a huge, huge recruiting for people. I think it's very century. I think it's like the new fast start, and I can't imagine us not using this no matter the quarantine or no quarantine. I just can't imagine us going back to the old way of fast starting. This is just a faster and easier and much more, I think, comfortable way for people to open up and introduce their markets to us. And it's a lower barrier of entry for their market. They don't have to drive anywhere. They just literally get on this call. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Q&A. Let's open it up for marketing directors and senior marketing directors first. Let's open it up. If you have 10 agents or more on your team that are active, 10 agents or more on your team that are active, let's open it up for questions real quick.
I have a question, Yvonne. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question is, and by the way, this is really awesome. I like it a lot. My question is, now, you know how we'll do like training appointments with them too, like ASAP. So is that, or KTPs, is that kind of like taking the place of it, or is this, or?
Oh, great question. No, so this is in addition to them still mobilizing their top 3 people who they want to have in business with them to Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, along with setting up ASAPs, right? So it's like a grand opening is more about, let's get everyone who you want to share the message with, everyone, right? Whether they came to a KTP before with you, whether they were already in another guest for another event, this is your own event. So everyone goes there, but you have ability to capture more bigger audience because you're not so hand selecting for only Tuesdays and Thursdays. Because Tuesdays and Thursdays is really more like, man, those are just more for the opportunity, right? But this is people that you just want to share with them. So one thing that we have found is that a lot of our associates in the beginning were trying to only mobilize for their event instead of Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we were trying to like say, no, you still got to focus on that. So who are your top 3 for today, Tuesday? Who are your top 3 for Thursday? So definitely distinguish that for their for your associates.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yvonne. Evan, if I can jump on and sort of second that what Yvonne said, here's what I would see and expect. So if you were brand new, Evan, and you came to the BPM as a guest of Yvonne's, and at the conclusion of that, you weren't ready to set up an interview, what am I immediately defaulting to?
Recruiting?
No, if you're a guest of Yvonne's at the BPM, you're in her warm market, and at the end of the BPM, we're going through the business review card, and I cannot schedule an interview with you because you're not interested really in moving forward on a recruiting side of things. What would I immediately shift gears to?
Oh, to F&A.
To an F&A, right? And then I would transition to either start that with you and the spouse or do a data collector, whatever's next. I really believe the same is true here. So I'm using this to, number one, to create the credibility of the company, to show that Yvonne and I are in business together, to use the credibility of her relationship, my experience, my expertise, and to get a great first impression out there, almost like an ASAP. And understand that some of those people are going to be interested in interviewing, but a bunch of others, I want to set up data collects or ASAPs with their spouse as a follow-up to that. Hey, Evan, really appreciate you showing up to support Yvonne. That was outstanding. You know, you could really help her out a lot with her training. A big part of her training is what we call field training, where she sits down with individuals and sort of she does the whole presentation start to finish. It's a big help for her in her training. Would you and your wife, Lizzie, be willing to support Yvonne in her continued training and transition right into an individual appointment then? And whether you start it with an ASAP or go straight to a data collect, like that's your call at that point. But I would convert directly to those for the ones that don't show interest in the opportunity.
Okay, no, that sounds good. Thank you for clarifying that. Just because I was wondering if it was the same information on the grand opening as is, you know, the ASAP, but it gives them an opportunity to practice the ASAP on their own with us.
Yeah.
creates that initial exposure. And then from here, we want to convert to an interview or convert to an ASAP appointment. And the conversion to the ASAP appointment is, boy, you can really help out Yvonne a lot with her ongoing training. This is a big part of it, is her sitting down with individuals like you or couples like you and getting a chance to actually begin that process. Would you be willing to support Yvonne with her continued training in that way? I think that's a huge shift where you're going to get even more. I think you're going to get into people's markets faster and do more ASAPs and more data collects that way is my guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Christopher,
Yep.
I have a question.
Okay.
For somebody like me that's been around for a while, grand opening seems a little awkward. So what would you suggest I call mine?
It's
Immediately reached out to me after Wednesday. And she goes, I think I should do one in my market. Will you help me with it? So I don't know what we call it. We can call it, I don't know what to call it.
I have an idea. So
Okay.
we're talking about a grand opening to a new era. So this is a new era of business, a new era. So that's really it. So Michael and I, we're going to be launching ours as well. So we're trying to see between Christopher and Nikki who's going to be available, but it is going to be a new era of business, and that flows so well to everyone, no matter how much time you've been in business. And you are going to go through the BPM presentation, not an ASAP presentation. That's at least what we do in our grand opening.
Right. Yeah. Good question, Margie. Other leaders with 10 or more active agents, questions for Yvonne.
I have a question, Yvonne.
Tony Shoblow. The
Hi,
great Tony Shoblow.
I was just thinking, have you tried, or even Christopher, your opinion on maybe doing some group re-grand openings? I love the new era because of Zoom. We can really pitch that. Everybody can do their business at home through Zoom. But what about matching up 3 or 4 people at a time if they don't have a large market? How do you feel about that?
So my opinion, so when we first went quarantine down and we first started doing a bunch of Zoom BPMs, my perspective when I was hosting a number of Zoom BPMs, whether it was happy hour or whatever I was doing, right, is I don't care if I only have 3 or 4 guests on. That's 3 or 4 more guests than I would normally have on a Friday night anyway, right? And so I think the personalization of it, number one, is more effective if I've got just Tony in her warm market and she only has a few people that show up. I think it's going to be stronger impression on those few people because it's just me and Tony. Number two, I also think, without saying so, it puts a little bit more pressure on Tony to get people on there versus if Tony knows she's doing it with Yvonne and Evan and Eugene, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of her having to get people because she knows that these other people are bringing people too. So personally, I'd be willing to do that for a new associate, even if they didn't, or even an existing associate, even if they didn't get that many on. It's worth my time to me. But I think that's an individual call for you as a leader.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tony, so we have had some grand openings where we've had 2 guests. Actually, we have had I think 2 grand openings where we've had 2 guests, and we've had grand openings and where we know where the associate could have more, and we've rescheduled. We said, look, since no one really has hard confirmed, for this event, we're gonna move it out to next week, and we're gonna drive it a little bit different. So that way we can really help more with the actual invitation, because I find that it's really that the invitation hasn't been really strong in the beginning, and that's the reason why we haven't had that many guests for that person or confirmed for that person. And at the end of the day, I think what has got us to double digit, it's not so much the actual grand opening, but it's the fact that people are now being daily thinking about the activity to creating guests. So it's the habit that I want to create in every associate. So if I can get everybody in our team, in the hierarchy, to just be constantly thinking of who can I invite for this event that is for me, which is every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Saturday, then now you're going to have a team that is more active than just kind of like not, being engaging. So that's what the grand opening has done for us. It's been more getting associates to engage with us, to driving on a daily basis for an event.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Yvonne.
Other questions from other leaders?
Sorry, I have one more question.
No, that's okay. I want you to have questions because I want you to actually do this, and I want you to have confidence from the very first time. Yvonne has taken all of the hits and fallen down so that you don't have to.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys for doing that. So with orientation then, guys, are you just kind of, because that's the only other thing I'm thinking about is in orientation, where we say you'll observe 2 and perform 8. We're talking more of the ASAP. Are we kind of gearing this more towards this is an actual like soft opening like you would a restaurant, and set it up that way?
That would be my opinion. Yeah, it's like this is the ultimate restaurant baseball example.
Yeah. Okay.
Restaurant baseball leads to we're actually opening the restaurant, and we're gonna have a virtual opening of your restaurant. Here's how it's gonna go. Yeah. They still need the individual ASAP trainings, and we want to use this to make it faster to set those up.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And I think, I think one of the things that I think probably you and I and Yvonne and Nikki and Mark will probably play around with a little bit is the Google survey cards that Yvonne has created, till we sort of fine tune those, and we're able to sort of really harness that. How do we transition to the data collect versus how do we transition to the interview? I think those can be fine tuned a little bit. But I think it's genius that she created the Google survey that way in lieu of the business review cards we were doing online, which didn't seem to be very effective for many reasons. And the calling of people immediately afterwards, which is fairly effective. But I think this is sort of taking it to the next level, is having that online Google survey and walking people through the questions before they get off the Zoom meeting. I think that's like crazy good.
I had a question.
Shoot.
I was thinking about this morning. I've done a little bit of this with one associate, new associates this last month. And is there an issue with having too many people on that grand opening? And because I'm thinking, gosh, if you have 22 people on there and now you're trying to schedule 22 data collects, if things get too far away from the ASAP, is there too much time? Do you try to just do a massive amount of matchups? How's that kind of worked for you?
Because of the Google Sheets, you're getting responses immediately of who wants to meet with you for what purposes, right? Mm-hmm. So if they say they're not interested, I don't need to follow up with them. So let's say out of the 22 people, we get like 10 of them that are not interested. Okay, right? And they might have not been interested because maybe they were already clients, or there are perhaps associates that are getting re-engaged. I don't know, whatever reason is, but let's just say 10, right? Obviously the numbers are not that bad, but the numbers are really good because it's your warm market. So whatever it is, those people you don't follow up with, you just send them a text message. Thank you. Keep me in mind for referrals, and send them campaign manager. The other ones, they are actually responding that they do want to meet with you, and they're telling you what they want to meet with you for, both or one or the other. And they're telling you probably the times that they want to meet with you. So you already know your calendar. You know whether that's going to work or not going to work. You already talked about in pregame, who's going to help you close with who. So you have all your closers, right, on the actual webinar. So you're organized through that process. So I think it falls like a lot when you, try to do it all yourself. But if you involve your team and you get your team to help you, it's a lot easier. And they all have their Google Sheet up because you shared it with them, they're seeing who are the hot calls to make, the ones to confirm the appointment with. Then the ones that are gonna make the calls afterwards are the ones that haven't yet responded. So maybe while you're on the call confirming that, that trainee can send them a message, send the other ones that haven't responded back, say, hey, waiting for your response. You finish this one, then another one pops up because they just got a reminder to tell them that they haven't responded yet. And so now you're getting this way of almost like a popcorn effect without feeling like overwhelmed, not knowing where to start through the follow-up.
So you're having your whole team, so it's not just you and the associates that the grand opening is for, trying to do all of the appointments. You're trying to get your other team members involved in meeting with that associate's contacts. Is that my understanding that right?
Yes, especially if it's in their upline, right? So let's say like Ted, right? So Ted is going to be one that we're going to be doing next week. So Ted is under Cassandra. Cassandra will be on. Stephanie will be on. They'll have Michael and I on. So there's enough hands on the pot to help with all of that.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Yvonne. I have another question. Sorry, Christopher.
Hi.
Sorry, hang on. Before we do, I just want to echo what Yvonne said. I'm a big believer in the matchup process. And so I would rather, I don't think there's such thing as too big of a pre-grand opening. I don't have that belief in my mind. The more people that we have on that pre-grand opening, there's a herd mentality. And it further validates and confirms if Eugene Mewborn is my new associate, I'm having a launch party for him, and he's got 40 or 50 people on there. Each one of those people is thinking, holy cow, look at what Eugene's doing. And like, they get the message is more credible. It sounds more exciting with all of the people on there, especially as I start to see people I know, or I see people like, oh, that's Eugene's brother. He's told me about him, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a lot of, there's a magnetic, attractive power about those numbers, especially in somebody's warm market. And as far as the logistics of following up, like Yvonne said, this Google survey helps you to prioritize everything. And then you pick and choose who you're matching up. Each one of us has access to unbelievable matchup field trainers in our local area. And here's the beauty. It doesn't even have to be your local area. Like I'm using Edson Trejo right now a ton for matchup in my base shop. Edson is an hour and a half away from me, but he's seconds away from me virtually. So I don't even need to worry about logistics. You could be using field trainers in Colorado, in Arkansas, in West LA, like wherever. So I would really use the matchup process. I wouldn't try and control this and do a controlled burn. You want to explode it. I want to have 50 people on Eugene's market, but let's say I have 20 and I get 3 or 4 guys started right away out of that. Like the person that Yvonne was talking about, they've already had 3 new recruits for this person that had 22. They got 2 or 3 more in the hopper, right? All of a sudden I've got 3 more launch parties. And then as soon as I get these other 2 guys on, 2 more. So I've got 5 launch parties. And then of those, I get the recruits, and then I have those launch parties. Like, I want to keep this exponential growth. That's the way you get huge. When you're trying too much to control and manage things and you're worried too much about it getting sloppy, like that's limited thinking. I want to get big and then utilize the resources around me. I don't need to control it all. I just need to make sure that I'm running the 8 speed filters. I've got the right people in place to help. I hope that helps a little bit. I'll let the next person ask their question.
Hi, Yvonne. Sorry. So just the timing of when you send out that first grand opening flyer, is that like 1 week out or 2 weeks out? Have you found a good timing of that?
Within 1 week is good enough because people are not really doing anything. They're not going anywhere. So it's a good amount of time to circle back with them a few times, make sure that that's a legit guess. And then also, if you're the one that's going to be running these these grand openings, then you need to go ahead and select the times that you're going to be available to run them. So we've selected with our team that we run them on Fridays at 7 o'clock, right? And then again on Saturdays and Sundays at 1, 3, or 5. So those are your options, right? So what time is your grand opening going to be? And so I already know how to I'm already organized on my end. So my team has, these are the options, first come, first serve. But also I don't got to be the one that does the BPM. So as our team gets bigger, perhaps we'll be doing simultaneous, grand openings, 3 101s, right? 3 at 1 o'clock, 3 at 5 o'clock. And so it's just getting the team to help and participate, getting them involved in the actual business and their actual business, not you having to do everything for them.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Hey, Yvonne, it's Shaq.
Hey, Shaq.
Hey, I was looking for that Post My Wall app. Is that what it's called, or is something else?
So Poster My Wall is a website.
Shaq, did you just say Post Malone app?
No, I did not. But that would be hot, though.
if it was out there, I'd have it.
Yeah, I already know. I would ask you first, Christopher, if I would say that. Oh, so it's an app on the. Okay, so it's on a website. Good. Okay, cool.
Yes, it's a web, so you can go on there, and it's Poster My Wall, and I'm sure we can get it out to everyone through an email.
All right, cool.
Just save your own version of it. Don't
Got
go
it.
in there and tamper ours, the original one.
Nah, you know we'll do that.
Evelyn's going to work with Yvonne and get the link to that and all the other things that she's described, and then Evelyn's going to get them out to all the SMDs. And then all of you that aren't SMDs, you can get it from your SMDs. So give us till the end of today to get that to everyone's SMD, to get it in an organized format so it's easy for them to utilize and it's easy for them to pass on to you.
Thank you.
And we'll also include Tony and Christina Netson on that SMD distribution. Any other questions? Freaking hot stuff. Hot stuff. Any other questions?
Yes, Christopher. I know I don't have those numbers, but Yvonne, you did mention
still
about
love you.
the Excel sheet that to be attached to the survey. When you were creating it, you did not go into that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so yes, so when you create your Google Sheet form, right? On the very top of that form, you're going to be able to tab into responses. When you tab into responses, it'll give you the option to create an Excel sheet, and it saves automatically on your drive.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Miss you.
Miss you too. Gotta get back there.
All right, you guys, unbelievable job. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Michael. You get
Awesome.
I really appreciate it. So a couple things. Yes, we recorded today's webinar so that you can re-watch it, and I would really encourage you to do so. Like, repetition's the mother of learning. There's so many little nuances to what her and Michael have already learned and pointed out. Like, the big components of this, it's easy to figure out. Oh yeah, we invite a bunch of people. Oh yeah, we have a Zoom. But all the little nuances, like I love her as the new associate is on the Zoom meeting, welcoming their friends and family. I love how she's noticing who's not on there that was confirmed and sending out individual texts. Hey, it's getting started. We're waiting for you. Or like her little follow-up texts during the beginning of the Zoom meeting are like huge in creating greater mobilizations, because people just forget stuff like that, right? So there's so many little nuances. We're going to have the link available later today on GroupMe so that you can rewatch it. Also, for those of you participating in our classes that we're running on Saturday mornings, I was sort of bragging to Dan about what her and Michael are doing and how they're doing it and how well she articulates it, how thorough she's sort of thought through things from start to finish. And so Dan's going to have her do general training tomorrow on this very subject. So you've got an opportunity to listen again tomorrow, or an opportunity to re-listen to the recording, but we'll get the tools into your hands by the end of today. In my mind, this is the new way of doing business. This legit is the new era, and I wish it existed when I got started, but it's not too late for you to relaunch or to launch for the first time ever your new era. And I really want to encourage you specifically. I know you've been here for a minute. I want to encourage you to do this with your leader. And then I want to encourage us to take massive immediate action with every new associate that we have. So May 1st, today's May 1st, it's the beginning of a new month. March was about 6 months long. April seemed like it was like 4 days long. And here we are in May, and we have no idea what to expect, but here's what I know.
Woo.
If you review what worked in April for you and what didn't work, if you crunch the numbers, if you look at your calendar, if you look at your results, if you look at your activity for the month of April, and you figure out what did I do well, what do I want to continue to do, what didn't work for me, what do I need to make adjustments on, and then set brand new goals for the month of May, commit those goals to writing. If you take the most important goals, activity goals, and write them in the middle of your vision board that you've got for the year, your dreams and your vision board. And so the big goals for the month of May are written there. So when you're looking at those pictures every morning and you're fully associated with the feelings of achieving your dreams and goals and what's going to feel like and why it's important, you're seeing at the same time, here's what I need to do this month to get me closer to all of my goals and dreams. And then you update your business plan with the specific goals that you need for May. You send the updated copy to your upline leadership, your SMD, your EMD, your CEO by the end of the day. And you let them know, hey, I'm serious about hitting these goals this month. I need your help. I want your help, and I want to be more accountable because I want to win now more than ever. We're having record months in the company. Many of our leaders here on these calls are having record months. You're in the right place. It's the right company, right leadership team in place, right ideas. We've got a message that resonates with the American people in our local communities more than ever. And we've got products and services that friends and family members in our local communities need now more than ever. It couldn't be a better time to be in business with us. We're here to help you and support you in every way that we can. Part of that is giving you leadership. Part of that is direction. Part of that is challenging you. Part of that is like holding you accountable. And the other part of it is encouraging you and supporting you and providing you with resources and inspiring you with the success of others. We're challenged on a daily basis to do that, and I hope we're doing a good job of that for you. We'll meet you halfway. We need you to do your fair share of the work. I just left the gym, and I worked my ass off today. I had the best workout I've had since about November today. My trainer pushed me super freaking hard, but I brought my fair share today. There's a lot of people that belong to a lot of gyms that don't get in better shape. It's not the gym's fault. It's not the trainers. It's not a lack of resources. They're not putting in the effort. This is the best business gym that's ever been created. Take advantage of all of the resources and tools and mentors that are available to you. Not just some of them, not just the exercises that you like. Well, I like the bands over here in the corner. Let me work out with the bands a little bit. Take advantage of all the tools and resources and work hard and give it your best effort, because it deserves your best effort, but most importantly, you deserve your best effort, and your family members that you're fighting so hard for, they deserve your best effort. One of the things I told my wife when I was leaving the gym this morning with her, there's a track in there where we can run short sprints. And so throughout my workout, in between sets of weightlifting, I run sprints and do ab work, between almost every set of exercises. And I told her one of the reasons I felt so good about today's workout, not only was I really strong, but my shoulders didn't give me any problems. But the other thing I told her was, like, my sprints, I said, I sprinted like I was running from the freaking cops today. I said, I sprinted like nobody's business, like I was in a hurry. I didn't pump the brakes a step or two before the end of the finish line. Like, I ran every sprint as hard as I freaking could. And then I finished my workout with 5 sprints back to back. And it felt amazing. Leave it all in line. Push yourself. Work as hard as you can this month. When there's a ton of momentum in the company and with the people around you, it's a great time to grow. I want to challenge you to challenge yourself and allow somebody to push you hard and give it everything you got. And I think if you give it everything you got right now in this era, with the things that we're doing right now, I think you won't surprise us. You won't surprise the leadership team, but you might surprise yourself as to what you can do right now. Okay. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I'm fighting for you guys. I'm praying for you guys. And I want so badly for this to happen for you. I want it to happen sooner rather than later. Okay.